All right, let's do some transit news because we have a lot of news going on regarding transit, regarding our new governor that has moved in, and Kathy Hochul. And I want to read this article to you, but I also want to talk about this. She actually responded to the subway outage that took place Sunday night pretty quickly and addressed this. And this article said, while trains were restored to full service in time for the morning commute, last night's MTA disruption was unacceptable, and I've directed a review of the system breakdown. So she is gonna be involved in trying to clean up the MTA here. Right, because Cuomo's got a lot of cronies there. We know what happened here. A series of events took place at 8:25 when a Con Ed power surge forced the subway's signal system to switch to backup power, impacting seven lines. That secondary power supply held until about 9:10 when it mysteriously failed, and that's what caused the signaling to go out, as well for all the numbered trains as well as the L train. Con Ed said a fault to an underground transmission feeder in Long Island City, Queens, is what caused the voltage disturbance. But it is completely unacceptable to have this happen with the power system as well as and I'm glad she's involved in this. She's completely different than Cuomo in many, many, many different ways. And of course, News 12 didn't cover any of this. Well, again, they don't really care about public transportation unless it's on the South Shore. They're not going to care. And also, there's also Cuomo and Hochul, also MTA board. She's also trying to get rid of one of our least favorite MTA board members here, and this article says she vows that the MTA will be far more limited and the MTA will not micromanage. All right. So with congestion pricing ready to roll out and fund transit improvements, Governor Kathy Hochul said she will free the MTA of political influences. 5 current board members were appointed by former Governor Andrew Cuomo, but their terms end with his resignation. Hochul must now restock the board with her own appointees. The MTA is getting a new conductor, but Hochul says she doesn't want to drive the train. She just wants to make sure it stays on the track. The MTA is going to be far more liberated, but I'm also going to be hamstringing people who feel that their creativity is suppressed and their ideas are suppressed. So hopefully this is going to stop the intimidation of people like Phil Ang, as well as Andy Byford. That micromanaging is what caused Andy Byford to leave. And she will not be filling positions with political allies. And one of the guys on there, I forgot his name. He's a stockbroker kind of guy. I forgot his name. Oh, Larry Schwartz. She wants to get rid of him. So, yeah, he needs to go, especially considering his links with Cuomo. So I'm really glad about this. This is good news. And now I'm going to read to you this Newsday article as well on this. And so, I think the governor's getting off to, our new governor is getting off to a good start. Obviously, I wish she would address the bail reform, but she does strike me as somebody who's trying to look out for everybody, not just a certain demographic, but there's a lot that she's going to have to overcome. So new MTA leader Lieber promises shorter, more reliable trips for Long Island Railroad. And, of course, the new MTA leader, hopefully she will keep him acting MTA chairman and CEO Janno Lieber, all right, because I think he will do a very good job. He's very experienced. The new acting head of the MTA told Newsday under his watch, Long Island Railroad passengers can expect shorter and more reliable trips to work, new amenities at the train stations, and incentives to lure back riders who stopped commuting during the COVID-19 pandemic. But while several Long Island leaders have expressed their confidence in Janno Lieber, the future of the agency's new acting chairman and chief executive officer remains unclear, given that he was appointed by former Governor Andrew Cuomo just weeks before his resignation. New Governor Kathy Hochul said she has not said whether she plans to keep Lieber, whose nomination still needs to be approved by the state Senate. Lieber has said he'll leave it up to politicians to decide his fate. Much of Lieber's Long Island agenda will be carrying out major infrastructure initiatives that he was leading as the agency's infrastructure guru, projects that were already underway. Lieber said that before joining the MTA, his familiarity with Long Island was limited. He grew up in Manhattan. He'd occasionally visit Belmont Park or Jones Beach, but it's been in the last 4 years while heading the LIRR expansion project that he's come to appreciate Long Island's role in the region economy. Better known as the Third Track Project, the project aims to construct a 10-mile third track between Floral Park and Hicksville. The railroad's relationship to Long Island is incredibly deep. Each of the communities, because of the branch system, has an investment in the railroad and the way it connects them to the rest of the region, and especially to each other, Lieber said. I am excited about what's happening here because Long Island is getting the benefit of the mega projects in a way that maybe nowhere else is. Lieber said the railroad's mega project will play a critical role in Long Island's future, including by boosting new residential developments for young people and senior citizens, facilitating travel to high-paying jobs in Manhattan's Midtown, East District near Grand Central, and allowing for a reverse commute, wherein New York City residents travel to jobs on Long Island. The MTA first has to lure back thousands of LIRR commuters who left during the pandemic. While realizing that some of the percentage of lapsed riders will continue to work from home, Lieber is confident that the authority can win back some. The keys to that goal, Lieber said, are improved reliability on the LIRR, which has set on-time performance records in recent months, and improved experience at stations, including a planned 350,000 square foot terminal at Grand Central and a revamped Penn Station that will emulate the sleek new Moynihan train terminal across from Penn. I think it's going to raise the spirits of the Long Island Railroad commuters who have been really loyal, but have to put up with the not-so-great experience at Penn. Lieber said of the planned Penn Station redevelopment, which he spearheaded at the MTA. I think it gives the Long Island commuters the sense that they are a top priority for everybody in the region. In the short term, Lieber said that the LIRR must come up with a new ticket type that reflects that for at least a little while there are going to be fewer people who want monthly passes. He said the railroad could also come up with short-term incentives and welcome back specials for lapsed riders. The LIRR is carrying, on average, about 120,000 people each weekday, a little more than 40% of its pre-pandemic ridership. In one of his last major leadership shakeups, Cuomo appointed Lieber, a Brooklyn resident who had been serving as president of MTA Capital Construction, to replace Pat Foy of Port Washington. Cuomo wanted to split the positions of MTA CEO and chair into separate jobs and appoint another ally, former MTA bus and subway chief Sarah Feinberg, to the latter position. But the state legislature blocked the plan, and Lieber has taken on both roles. The MTA has not disclosed Lieber's new salary, but Foy made about $360,000 as CEO. Lieber, 59, has so far steered clear of the controversy surrounding Cuomo, other than to make clear that there is absolute zero tolerance for sexual harassment at the MTA, and is sought to assure the public that he is the right man for the job. Lieber joined the authority in 2017 after leading the redevelopment of the World Trade Center. He was quickly credited with streamlining several of MTA's delay-plagued mega projects, including LIRR's East Side Access link to Grand Central. He also jump-started the LIRR stalled effort to build a third track on the main line through Nassau County. Both projects have remained on track under Lieber's watch. At a November event in Westbury marking a milestone in the third track project, then Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul suggested Lieber's middle name should be OTUB. What's OTUB? On time, under budget. So she was impressed with him. That's good. But Lieber also had his distractors, including LIRR Union leader Anthony Simon, who criticized the former MTA infrastructure chief for prioritizing progress on Cuomo's pet projects above all things, including the safety of the authority's workforce. The criticism followed a string of safety-related projects incidents at LIRR sites earlier this year, and we know what they were. And again, I really can't blame him as much as just the contractor at this point on that. But I think that's where he has to change his tone. Yeah, you want to move things fast, but you're going to see, as the chairperson, you will need to listen a little more, said Simon, who vowed to work with Lieber and give him the opportunity to prove himself as long as he's here. The uncertainty among some about Lieber's future is a reflection of his ties to Cuomo, who in May referred to the new MTA boss as a community-oriented Robert Moses. In his resignation speech earlier this month, the former governor singled out Lieber as a member of his team and thanked him by name. But Gerard Brinkman hopes the affiliation with Cuomo is not held against Lieber, whom Brinkman called the perfect guy for the job. Brinkman, who works in construction, said he's been extremely impressed with Lieber's leadership of major infrastructure projects on Long Island, including bridge replacement projects carried out over single weekends. If he can do that, I feel he could probably do anything, Brinkman said of Lieber. And I feel like he has the right temperament for the job. He's polished enough to work with the politicians, but also you don't get that type of construction work done without being a tough guy, too. Matthew Cohen, President and CEO of the Long Island Association, a business group, called LIRR a seasoned professional who is uniquely familiar with Long Island's mega project and their benefits. The third track will increase the railroad's capacity to run trains, reduce the impact from service disruptions. East Side Access will shorten the commutes of LIRR riders traveling to Grand Central by 40 minutes each day. He knows the Long Island Railroad. He understands our challenges and our opportunities, coincided of LIRR, who has spoken at LIA events. I know that he appreciates the vitality of the Long Island Railroad is important for the downstate economy. Assemblyman Ed Ra of Rockville Center, I thought he was from Garden City. At least his office is in Garden City. Who has collaborated with LIRR to advance the third project in his district, crediting him for keeping the project on schedule and working with local communities to remove those obstacles that stalled it for years. But after being part of Cuomo's inner circle for years, LIRR will have to show that he can run the agency without meddling from the governor's office, Ross said. To do that, LIRR will have to address the long-standing spending and deficit issues at the MTA and address ongoing concerns about overtime abuse and fraud among some LIRR employees. You have, hopefully, an MTA going forward that can be more focused without the interference that we saw for many years. I think the way he overcomes that is that he shows he's overseeing a different MTA from top to bottom, setting a climate from the top of the organization to that there's going to be more accountability. So this brings back the to-do list here. Bring back LIRR riders after bonding them out at just 3% of pre-pandemic levels. Passengers have gradually returned to the LIRR, is now carrying just over 40% of 2019 weekday ridership. LIRR said he hopes to lure back more riders with an improved commuting experience, including new ticket deals for riders, including part-time commuters. Completing the mega projects. After being debated on Long Island for more than a half century, two key projects, we know what they are. East Side Access will link the LIRR to Grand Central, and the LIRR expansion project will build a third track along the main line in Nassau County. Fixing Penn Station. LIRR has led the efforts to improve Penn Station, including by widening walkways and raising ceilings, but riders still complain about the conditions in the Manhattan Travel Hub. He's pushing for more extensive renovation that include removing part of the upper level. Riders would also want the MTA to better address homelessness and panhandling at Penn. I'm glad they brought that up because that has to be definitely dealt with. Straightening out finances. The $14.5 billion federal bailout of the MTA has allowed the agency to avert major service cuts and put off a planned fare increase until at least next year, but both options remain on the table in the future unless LIRR can work with lawmakers to create a new recurring revenue stream for the MTA. Some ideas include a gas tax and new fees for tourists. Coordinating with Long Island bus providers, Nassau and Suffolk are undergoing studies of how they can improve their transportation networks. Officials at both counties have spoken of the need to improve connectivity with the LIRR so that bus arrivals at train stations are more closely synced with train arrivals. LIRR could work with Nice Bus and Suffolk County Transit to increase use of all the systems. Now, I think the best way to handle this, obviously, is to bring Nassau and Suffolk under the MTA umbrella and bring the MTA back to Long Island, bring back Long Island Bus, and have it cover the whole island. But, of course, Cuomo's out of the picture, so, maybe that can happen now. We got to get regional bus back on the table, I'm telling you. Cracking down on overtime abuse, obviously, is the next thing. So there's still some overtime abuse. I think they blow it a little out of proportion, but there's still, there's still some bad apples out there. Great article from Newsday, obviously. I'll put the link in the description to these articles as well. So some good news on this. I'm trying to be optimistic here, although we have to see if our new governor is going to be able to resist the intimidation that's going to be coming from a lot of people that were connected to Cuomo and Wall Street, of course, to make sure their own kind gets the best. Well, we get all the problems, of course. That's a little bit off topic, but that is something to talk about. So we're going to talk about some new schedules coming up with Nice Bus as well on this public transportation. And there's some good news for public transportation riders here. N6 Express returns to NCCC, and you will also have, as you see here, the N16 actually going back to its old route in Rockville Center, going down Lincoln Avenue as well. All right, they've added more weekday trips on the N19, 78, 79, and 80. 22X still doesn't run. At 25, they've added earlier weekend service, and the Jones Beach service has been extended to run through September 19th. So that's some good news, too, as well, for public transit. And they've definitely added some service here. I'm not going to go through all these schedules. You can look at them yourself, but they have added some service, and then I'm pleased to see some service being added on Nice Bus. Now, the railroad also has new schedules. The good news with these schedules is that the project and the Port Jefferson branch is complete. So you have your half-hourly service back on the Port Jefferson branch. You'll see half-hourly weekend schedules back. Half-hourly weekday schedules are back on the Port Washington branch as well. So that's good news as well for Long Island Railroad riders. And NJ Transit has finally listened to us. And I think the biggest thing of all that I was really very pleasantly surprised to see that we're going to actually go over here is NJ Transit has increased service on the 319 and 137, the bus that goes to Toms River, by quite a bit. So they have an upcoming schedule on September 4th. And you'll notice that they've now added service on weekdays and weekends. You're having hourly service now, running every hourly service in the morning, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30 out of Port Washington. No more of that at Port. I'm at Port Authority. You don't have that 7:30 to 9 gap anymore. All right. And look at the weekend. You're having service every half an hour now on Saturdays. Out of Port Authority. This was a big problem. The buses were getting overcrowded. Now you're going to have buses alternating. 137, which ends in Toms River. 319 goes to Atlantic City. 319 is going to be hourly to Atlantic City. But you have a lot of people going to Toms River, so you needed that half-hourly service, and NJ Transit listened to us with that, and I'm very pleased with that. And they also added some half-hourly service on Sundays, too, just one less bus in the morning there. And then going back to, they've added service as well. Half-hourly service going back on weekends from Toms River to New York City, which is great news to see. And you'll see here again, half-hourly service. This is weekdays? Well, you have some half-hour. Yeah, you have a few extra added service on weekdays. Other than that, it's hourly after 6 o'clock. But they added service to the 319, and that was very much needed that they did that. So that's very good. I'm glad to see these additions to public transportation because we need to definitely get more people on public transportation. And I'm really impressed with Governor Kathy Hochul. She's really taking an interest in public transportation. And she actually addressed this situation right away, which I'm very glad about. They have a talking here in the story? I guess they don't. But she addressed this right. There she is. She addressed this right away. And I'm very impressed with her on that, that she seems to really care about the people who ride public transportation. So, I'm very optimistic. Thank God Cuomo was out, and hopefully we can overcome these other things going on. And the middle of the island is still having some problems, and but at least with the it's going to take time. But this is why we have to continue to speak out about what's happening. And I think she definitely seems to govern a lot more like Phil Murphy versus Cuomo, and I think that's very good. Yeah, I didn't agree with everything Phil Murphy did, but you're not going to agree with everything somebody does. But Phil Murphy genuinely cares about everybody, and so does Governor Kathy Hochul. At least she's showing that right now, that she's actually taking an interest in the public transportation situation, and she's going to make sure that everybody has reliable service. So that is going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching.